Hey guys, this is Dan with Gears and Gadgets. Thanks for tuning in. So catalytic converter theft has been a huge thing nationwide recently. It costs thousands to get these things replaced, especially with my truck being new. The parts may not even be available for it. So I actually bought a shield from Talon's garage that I'm going to do a review on. But oddly enough, right before I came out to film for this video, I saw a news story on TV.
Police rushing to a San Antonio neighborhood this week after a 33-year-old man was shot when he confronted someone who he says was trying to steal the catalytic converter under his car.
So, well, yes, you can run out in the driveway and gun these people down, which honestly, I personally don't feel that bad about if people are out there stealing from hardworking people. I personally don't want to run outside in a blaze of glory and have that sort of confrontation, as much as I think it's totally justified. The problem with that is you actually open yourself up to a whole bunch of liability. Those are the things that people don't tend to think about as they're hashing out that comment that I can see right now of just go out there and take care of business. You're kind of opening yourself up to maybe putting yourself in harm's way and not returning back to your family. All over catalytic converters, not super worth it. Now, the reason why I started paying attention to these catalytic converter thefts is if you watch a lot of these videos, they're going after Priuses because the hybrids, apparently the reasoning behind it is that the hybrid exhaust temperatures don't get high enough, so they need more catalyst to make them EPA compliant or whatever the regulations are. So having a Ford F-150 power boost, I started paying attention to the fact that these Priuses are being targeted, and an F-150 sits much higher, be a much easier thing to target. So I came across Talon's Garage, and Talon's Garage is just a small shop that is making these catalytic converter skid plates, anti-theft plates, and it was $340. So I actually bought this myself, and I reached out to them to say, hey, will this fit the power boost? Because the power boost is slightly different than the regular F-150. So I actually ended up engaged in some conversation with the guy from Talon's Garage, and we started talking about the whole thing. I still paid for the catalytic converter skid plate, but I saw they actually had a front skid plate too, and I asked him if it fit. He sent me one out because he thinks that it will fit. If it doesn't work, I'm not here to say that, oh, it doesn't even fit. It may or may not. So I'm going to go through and do a bit of a test fit on this to see how the front skid plate works. And for the cat skid plate, which is a separate piece, there will be some stuff to talk about here because it is different from the regular F-150 skid plate. So this is the front skid plate. They honestly don't feel like they weigh all that much at all. I mean, a few pounds. Some bracketry. Now this is your catalytic converter plate. This thing is legit. All of the hardware. These are the brackets that are unique to the power boost. So we'll go ahead and get these things installed. We'll see how they compare to the OEM skid plates and just see how the whole package looks. Let's get to it. This is a Talons plate. This is the stock steel plate. This would be your front transfer case plate. That's a mouthful. This is what came out over the cats. It is basically like a fiberboard compared to 1/4-inch aluminum plate. This junk, this awesome. So I laid all these bolts out and decided to stop for a moment, run to Home Depot. I bought some neoprene washers, which the installation video on their website does mention. I think it's a fantastic idea. So this is where the power boost and the regular F-150 deviate from one another, is this cross member here compared to the regular F-150, and the regular one, it comes up over here, and you actually have an L bracket that comes down to connect this. Now, because this is further back this way, they actually have a flat plate that you'll see me install here to bridge that gap. So you can see how it works with the power boost. But right off the bat, I can see this will cover the cats really well. So go ahead and get this mounted up. No. Oh.
No?
No, not yet.
Okay, then I'm going to put it away.
All right, so I spent about the better part of 5 hours on Monday, today is Saturday, installing that cat skid plate and also the mid skid plate, which is part of the package that comes with the front skid plate. I wasn't really going full force on it the whole day, so that's not too bad. Now, this front skid plate in this configuration on the Power Boost currently won't work from Talon's garage, and it comes down to the brackets. I am here basically trying to test fit it, and I think there might be some changes coming to this design so that it can be utilized for the Power Boost with that air dam also involved. So again, that wasn't the intent of this video to install the front skid plate. My intent was to make the video focused all around protecting those cats because that is the hot ticket item right now. I do think I will come back and revisit this front skid plate from Talon's garage in a future video because I do want to get it on there. It's just a matter of getting everything right in the design. This is, again, something that isn't for sale for the Power Boost now anyways, so I did reach out to Talons and say, I do think they should sell the front transfer case skid plate with the catalytic converter skid plate, maybe even just those two as a package for Power Boost owners who don't want to take the active air dam off the truck. So that's kind of my take on the whole thing. I'm at the point right now where this truck hasn't been built out to be an extreme off-roader. That's not the intention of this channel currently. May change, not sure. I'm putting this truck to work as your average truck buyer will do, not as your extreme off-roaders or the people who pretend to be extreme off-roaders. My intent is to make this truck incredibly functional, and that's what I'm doing in this build series as of today. So that's where I'm at with this whole thing. I think the Talon's garage package is awesome. It is an unfinished aluminum, so if you wanted to paint it, you could do that yourself, but it's going to remain underneath the truck. It's going to get beat up. That's kind of the whole part and point of a skid plate. Now, an important thing to note is that the Power Boost also does have some frame variations from the regular F-150. The cross member is actually moved back a little bit, which is why you have these brackets that are needed for that catalytic converter skid plate. With that being said, I saw it online, and my concern was that those plates could theoretically be cut with a Sawzall, and you could just drop the whole plate and get to those cats still. After installing this thing, spending a couple hours putting it together, even if you were to chop those two plates, you still have a very, very rigid skid plate that you could maybe pry down, but you're still never going to get a Sawzall up into that area to cut those cats out. So in my opinion, the worst case scenario that you would probably have with this skid plate combined with a catalytic converter thief is coming out to find your skid plate sort of pried down a little bit. But as long as it protects those cats, you're good to go, because I did look that up, and I believe as I'm recording this video, the last time I checked, it was like $3,000 for just the cats. It would be an incredibly expensive project to get those cats replaced, and now with part shortages, who knows if you can even get them. So you might be driving around with a decatted Power Boost for a while. So that's the whole intent of this, is to protect those catalytic converters. And if you come out and somebody's tried to hack those things apart and you're out $300-400 for a skid plate, that is a far better scenario. You could theoretically just crawl under the truck, actually uninstall the rest of it legitimately, order another one, and keep on moving. So most of these catalytic converter thieves, if they can't make those cuts right away, they're probably going to maybe monkey with that plate for a moment, and then they're going to move on to the next victim. So that's my take on the whole thing. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. These things are really stout. I think they're awesome, and I'll link down in the description down below to where I picked these up. With that being said, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, please hit that subscribe button down below. Remember, likes go a long way to help support the channel. I'll see you guys next time.